critics say that your days are gone because you're too old now. Do you think that it's possible to win Kona at the age of 38?
Well, I'm only 36, so
Oh, yeah. How old's Patrick Lang?
he's 38, and
Oh.
that's a motivating. That's very motivating.
We'll just run through the race first, and then we will chat about just kind of initial thoughts. How did your race go from the gun?
Well, my standard was really low, which was none. It was non-existent. So, you know, I would say the race. I can't really even say anything bad really about the race. Like, I swam for me relatively well. It was a comfortable swim. I worked my way in my little pack up to about third in the line. And it was a comfortable swim. Of course, you know, should you be swimming comfortable when you're losing a lot of time? Well, unfortunately, I'm just not strong enough to make or to drive the pack. And I'm not strong enough to make the pack that swam 50-30, if several guys somewhere in that range. So I don't have anything negative to say about the swim. I swam competently. It wasn't too taxing. And at the end of the day, it was my best discipline.
And then you get onto the bike, and what was your target wattage and your goal?
My target wattage going into it was 300 to 305 watts. I thought from my testing here, from our LT1 sessions, I was hitting on average 315 watts or so at a relatively low lactate and relatively low heart rate. And this is an area I would say already that I would do differently to improve. I did all of my sessions as interval workouts. And so the hardest one was 5.5 times 30. We did that on, I don't know, maybe 14, 15 days prior to the race. And if you look at that data, my heart rate was getting to 130 at the end of those 30 minuters or even more. So had you done an hour, then really it probably would have been 135 to 140. And if you did an hour and a half to 2 hours, one would think that it probably wouldn't be steady state. And so if I could go back, I would certainly have done a more continuous session to understand myself and get a training effect of continuous riding. And that's a big piece of where I think I went wrong with the training. But anyhow, my goal was 300 to 305 watts on the bike. It was too hard. And I ended up holding 300 watts for, I don't know, maybe first hour. And then it started coming down. And eventually I finished at 290 watts. So not a huge blow up. I think I still averaged the final 20 minutes or something, 275 watts, something like that. I didn't feel horrible, but I definitely felt exhausted. And so I was still a bit hopeful. You know, my standard is low. I was like, all right, now we'll just have a nice easy run here and not walk, and we'll have conquered this race finally. And I was hopeful. And then I went out onto the run, and I would say within the first few steps, I was like, uh-oh, I don't.
You look pretty fresh coming out of transition.
The hope is dissipating quickly right now.
You look pretty fresh coming out of transition.
Yeah, well, I started running, and I have my heart rate on, and I have the pace on, and I'm like, 355s. All right, let's just hold 355. That was my goal, 355 per kilometer, dead steady. Should be relatively easy. Totally incorrect on that one, too. Totally incorrect. I would say by like 7 or 8K, I already was falling off the 355 per kilometer pace. Heart rate 140, which was kind of what I figured I could hold, 140 to 145. And I just felt quite exhausted. And then when I saw you guys at about mile 7 or 8, I knew that this is going to be a rough one. I'm quite fit, so it wasn't as bad. It didn't feel as bad as normal. And I even was able to do, I didn't even walk. I didn't walk. I said, we'll walk the aid stations to bring the heart rate down, starting at approximately mile 12. And I only took 30 seconds there to walk the aid stations. So I didn't literally have to walk until kilometer 38, but I did walk kilometers 38 to 40. And then I was able to find just a little bit more to shuffle down the hill to the finish line. So, have I conquered Kona? No, Kona has conquered me yet again. Yet again.
Do you have any excuses?
I have no excuses. I think that I am fit. I wouldn't say I think. I know I'm very fit. I just don't think I'm the right fit. I know I'm not the right fit. I have a specific fitness for, I'd be able to do a good 70.3 right now. But the Ironman, the continuous nature, something is happening to me around 4 or 5 hours, and I am spent.
And do you think you have all the answers right now, or do you think you'll continue to assess?
You shouldn't even do videos 24 hours after something.
Then why are we doing this?
Because you're forcing me to.
Yeah, that is
for the
true.
most part. So yeah, like I said, I think a big thing is a piece that I missed is continuous stuff. And I don't think anything is cut and dry. Do you need intervals? Of course you need intervals. Of course you need to work a little bit of threshold. You even need a little VO2 sometimes. But one area actually that I would say you also need is continuous, probably upper zone 2 type work, which I've done none of. And so that sounds now, of course, hindsight's 2020. Looking back, I'm infatuated with intervals. I love intervals. I'd say maybe even the indoor training sort of pushes me more towards intervals, because to just ride at 250 to 280 watts for 4 or 5 hours on the trainer continuously is like pretty mind-numbingly boring. And so I have a propensity to do interval sessions. But I don't know if that's really what the demand is then that you ask of yourself on the day. And so that seems to be a deficit of mine. I think training is such that you learn and you make adjustments. And so the race didn't go as well as I wanted it. It was better. I didn't suffer. It wasn't as deeply suffering as normal, which is a positive. Do I think that a 3:16 marathon off of 290 watts and what felt like a relatively, not a relatively controlled swim, do I think that that's my capacity? No. In fact, I've run 251 here off of 305 watts and about the same swim. So I know that my capacity is higher. I'm just not hitting it.
So this is the journey to figure out the Ironman.
Now, when I really reflect on it, I would say I've not really had, I've not nailed the Ironman ever. St. George, I say, was probably the only race where I was close to nailing the Ironman, because I ran well all the way to the finish and I didn't come off the bike feeling exhausted. But in St. George, there was no heat stress, not nearly as much heat stress. And so, like I said, I think I could have went to St. George and potentially, if the heat stress turned up, been in a similar situation. So, but we did do a lot of upper continuous work under McCall. We did do rides, for instance, a 4-hour ride with 3.5 hours of 300 watts work, continuous, no breaks, no stopping, no nothing. So we were ticking that box, and I didn't tick that box this time. So I think that's an area for improvement. My propensity may very well not be to be super great at Ironman as well. Of course, as an athlete, you have to start to look at every angle. Do I think that I have more? I know I have more. Like I said, I'm not even looking at the others anymore. I just would like to feel internally like I'm doing the best that I can, and I don't feel like I'm doing that anywhere near doing that. So the journey continues. I'm not discouraged. I'm not even upset. I believe that you have a plan. All coaching is like this. You have a plan. It's informed by your knowledge base and your experience. You execute the plan and you believe in the plan. And I believed the morning of the race that I was ready and in form and had done adequate training to finally do this race. Literally, I believe we even made a video where I said, oh, I know for sure I could push 280 and run a 250 marathon. I know for sure I could. I couldn't. That was totally incorrect. Totally incorrect. Yet I believed that wholeheartedly 4 days ago or whenever that video was. But that is all the training, and some guys are getting it right. Well, I mean, there's approximately, I would say probably 25 guys yesterday who believed the same thing that morning. And if you ask them now, and they have coaches, and they have a knowledge base, they have experience, and they trusted all that, and the day went totally south.
Why do you get so much scrutiny, though?
Why do I get scrutiny?
Yeah.
Because I did 70 videos in the last 30 days. That's why I get scrutiny. I'm in your mind. So I'm giving you something to scrutinize.
Well, here's something
Like,
else for you.
and it's great. I think it's great. It's great. Scrutinizing other people is good to understand, like, where you're coming from and your perspective. Because I scrutinize other people as well. I look at other people's training and I criticize it. And I say, oh, I don't think that that's correct. Or, oh, I really like that. And I think it's great. But that is all it is. And there are, of course, coaches who have a good, let's say, track record with a particular athlete. But that takes time, you know. Patrick is at this point. Patrick has a very good, he understands how to get to this race and perform well. And he's done it 3 times now. And he's doing it, you know, basically all the time in the heat. So he understands himself and he understands how to prepare for the Ironman. I'm like that in the 70.3. I know how to prepare for a 70.3. Like 2 months from now, we do a 70.3. I'll be in phenomenal shape. There'll be absolutely not a single doubt in my mind. I'll be able to do the swim, the bike, and the run really well. I don't have that in the Ironman. It's still a work in progress. I'm 22 data points in now, and I haven't conquered it. I've had a couple of good ones. But if I had conquered it, you know, it probably wouldn't be as fun. Yeah. This is the first time, so jokingly, I saw Patrick at the end, and he asked me, so are you retiring again? And I said, yeah, definitely. But I didn't mean it. I was just joking. Like, no, not at all. I actually am excited to come back here in 2 years. I wish it was next year because it's motivating. Because I feel that there's still a lot of room to improve, and I feel that I did things wrong and that I could do differently. And that's the process.
A lot of critics say that your days are gone because you're too old now. Do you think that it's possible to win Kona at the age of 38?
Well, I'm only 36, so.
Oh, yeah. How old's Patrick Lang?
He's 38,
Oh.
and that's that's very motivating. Can I win? I mean, like I said, at this stage, is it about winning and losing? I don't even think it's the right perspective anymore. My perspective now is conquering this pursuit. And that doesn't have anything to do with winning or losing. That's something only I'll know. Only I'll know when I do it and how I feel based in reference to all the other times I've done it and how I feel. And I'll let you know when I get there, but I haven't got there yet. St. George was close. Could I come out of the water and blitz the bike for the first 2 hours? 330 watts. Definitely. Definitely. But that's like what I've trained to do, you know what I mean? And so it's like I'm missing a piece of the specificity puzzle. So I don't think I'm bad in the heat. I just think that the heat is exhausting me due to my weaknesses, not being, and I can improve my weaknesses.
I know it's tomorrow's not promised, but are you retiring this year? Is this going to be your retirement year? What do you have left in you?
I love triathlon, and I love training. I love investigating and learning about myself. I mean, I got 3 W's this year already, so, and I'm doing another race this year. So, I mean, it hasn't been a shitty year by any means. A lot of great athletes yesterday dropped out of the race. A lot of great athletes ran 3:05 to 3:45, whom are capable of running 240 marathons. So, like, just because it didn't go your way, I'm done with all that crap. Just because it didn't go my way, I'm going to cry about it and say, oh, I need this, or I need that, I need a coach, I need this. No, I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I think you just understand, and so now we're going to do it again. I want to, in practice, make sure I have a better handle on the actual Ironman before I go and put it into a race. I want to make sure that I have, no, in practice before Lake Placid. Yeah, I'm going to work on this in the background and do 70.3s. And because I am sick of kind of going to races. We already saw this was happening that Friday. This was happening that Friday, right?
Did you hold a high pace on that one?
I'm blowing up.
You're blowing up.
Oh yeah.
Carb depleted, do you think?
Stressful, man.
You want me
Stressed out.
to pour this down you?
I'm overheating. No, I don't want that. I'm overheating. I probably was too aggressive on everything. Yeah, I'm fucked right now.
And of course, as the eternal optimist, as an athlete, we tried to sort of, oh, it'll turn out all right in the race, but it kind of already was showing its head. So no, I'm not retiring. I'm motivated. I can't wait. I'm excited.
So ideally, in a perfect world, we'd see you here again in 2026.
God willing, I will be here in 2026. Yes.
Lastly,
And Nice. I want to do Nice as well. I know I can't handle the bike, and that's kind of a motivating piece of it.
Then will you go out there?
I intend to go out there. I intend to learn the course. Yeah, go do a camp.
Training partners.
Do some more testing with Canyon. Maybe Clement Mignon can help me out learning to descend.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Nothing is guaranteed, and I don't even care. Like I said, this is not. Don't get me wrong. I want to win, and if I can win, I'll take the W. But like, this is about like finding my limits in Ironman. I have to start with baby steps. In the 70.3, game on. In Ironman right now, focused on myself. All right? First, we conquer it internally. Then we go back out here. 70.3, you got that. Ironman, work in progress. Yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. We had a lot of fun. We made a lot of memories. It was a bit much, probably. I don't know if we'll do it again to this extent ever again. This is too much. Yeah, definitely. And, you know, like I've said before, I'll say one thing one day and 3 days later I'm thinking something else. So the problem is I would say probably a lot of people are like that, but when you put it out here, then it's kind of out there. You know, that's the problem with putting it out there. I would, you know, I want to take time to learn and digest and consult before I put things out there. And so you can't do this too much. So anyhow, we'll be back to one video a week in a couple weeks.
Take a little break.
I appreciate everybody. I'm going to do another 70.3, very likely Indian Wells, because I spent all my money on the Kona trip and can't afford to go to New Zealand anymore because I didn't make any return on this trip. But definitely excited for Marbella 2025.
All right, everyone, back home, finishing the final vlog. Can't believe that it's been a full month of vlogs. I had so much fun. I just wanted to personally say thank you so incredibly much to everyone who tuned in for one episode, all the episodes, all the messages, all the positive comments, all the critical feedback and all that. So thank you so incredibly much. We'll do it again for Nice next year, but probably not as long or as in depth. So hope you enjoyed it. And lastly, if you don't subscribe to the YouTube channel, it would mean so much if you did. Just go over, click on Lionel's channel and hit subscribe so you guys can continue to follow the journey. With that being said, see you at the next one.